Hello and welcome to Your Neighborhood Show. I'm Carolyn, and Your Neighborhood Show is about drawing out amazing stories of everyday people, of times in their lives when they have felt both connected as well as disconnected. Because that's the nature of life itself. We aim to normalize both connection as well as disconnection. None of us escape disconnection at some point in our life. So let's welcome it, experience it, and celebrate it. Because if you don't experience disconnection, how can you experience the magic of connection? Hello and welcome to Your Neighborhood Show. Our guest today is a lovely lady by the name of Julie. And I first met Julie actually not that long ago, just a couple of months ago, because through an organization called Sailability. And for those of you that don't know, because I didn't know about this organization, Sailability is a not-for-profit organization that provides opportunities for people in our community who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to sail, to go sailing. And it's an absolutely inclusive, beautiful organization that I've actually gotten to know over the last couple of years now. So without much ado, we shall get into it and find out from Julie exactly herself, her own amazing story. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Carolyn.
So, how are you feeling this morning?
Fantastic.
This afternoon?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, you've traveled all the way from Townsville. So,
I have.
Is there a big difference in the weather?
It was coolish this morning, but we're definitely heating up, as you've said. Spring has sprung.
Yes, absolutely. Today's been really beautiful in Brisbane.
Yeah.
So, as we normally do, we always start off with your childhood days to give us a bit of a context for your life. Tell us a bit. I know when we did the pre-interview prep, you shared quite a bit about your early childhood days, which were spent quite alone by yourself in a convent. Tell us about that and how you think it shaped the rest of your life. You're going forward from there.
I was dropped off each morning to the convent that was attached to my Catholic primary school because both my parents worked. And so early morning, before their breakfast, before their mass, I was put inside their garden and instructed to play, and that gave me plenty of opportunity to go and investigate what creepy crawlies are in the garden and look for different types of leaves and flowers. And then that was while they were having breakfast, and then when it was their time for morning mass, I'd go and join them for that. And then when all that was done, then I'd go across the road with the principal, who was a nun, and I'd go into a garden yet again at the back of the school and play there until school started, and then someone would collect me, and then I'd start classes.
So So you were alone by yourself, and how old were you?
So that was from kindergarten onwards, and I think I started rejoining like the school from about third grade, fourth grade. But prior to that, so kindy, first, second, third, I was mainly sort of put into the garden before and during school.
And how long when you say you were put into the garden before school?
So before school and during school, like through recess and lunch.
Like how many hours in the morning?
So I'd arrive early at the convent, maybe 5 o'clock.
5 in the morning?
Yeah.
And you were made to sit in
their garden. And then when the principal nun would go across to school to start, school work and proceedings, then I'd be put into the garden at the school. And in the winter or when it was raining, I was allowed to sit in the library.
So you were by yourself from a very young age for about 2 to 3 hours before school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that for you?
I think that kind of really sort of shaped me, and it made me wary of people always very comfortable being alone, and I don't have any bad memories of being in the garden, either garden, the convent garden or the school garden. I have very fond memories actually, and then of course being in the library during the wet, season. I kind of just, I just sort of think, well, it's just a part of, I guess how they managed me at the time. I'm autistic, and perhaps back then that was the only way that they could think to put me there, because perhaps I wasn't integrating into the school system as, like the other children.
Did you feel different as a young in kindergarten?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
And you think that's because of, okay, so, all right, so you were, your early hours before school, you're sitting alone in this garden, and then when it rained, you said you were put in a library.
Yeah.
And again, you were alone in the library.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst it wasn't, you don't have any bad memories,
No.
You kind of felt what?
Well, I was always entertained. Like in the garden, I was
You
always...
kept yourself entertained.
Yeah.
Right.
I potted, with the, plants and, snipped off any sort of dead things and, always made it look pretty and swept, would gather any, like ferns and things and make like a makeshift broom and, would sweep and just tend to my garden. And then in the library I would read. I learned how to read very early. My mother bought me, back then they used to sell the Britannica and Funk and Wagnalls door to door. So
Yes,
she bought me the Funk and Wagnalls.
I guess being by yourself and there was nothing bad as such that happened would kind of forced you to be more creative with how you spent your time, for starters, but also get comfortable being alone.
Yeah.
Which is not many people are comfortable being alone.
That is true.
So you've from a very young age, you kind of inadvertently got trained in being comfortable with yourself and getting creative on how you'd spend your time. So
I did do a lot of reading and drawing as a child. But and then by the time I was 4, I started playing piano.
Wow. And then I remember you saying that you went to school, and when you went to school, going into high school, you found there was some room or something where tell us about that. Yeah.
My high school had a music house.
Right.
And in that house, there were several rooms and they all had a piano in them. And I would find a room, an empty room with the piano. Most of the time they were just all empty. But yeah, I'd find myself a room and just go and sit and play and entertain myself and practice all my music. And
what were the other children doing?
Being children, I guess, playing in the playground.
But you felt more comfortable to go by yourself and...
Yeah, and once again, I think that stems from my
being
early primary and just being separated from others and playing by myself and trying to entertain myself. So, yeah, that sort of carried through in high school.
And you must have gotten really good at piano.
I certainly enjoyed it
Yeah.
and found many an opportunity to play the piano. My neighbours would meet me at the letterbox, in the afternoon and say, "Oh, we're having a cocktail party. Would you mind leaving your windows open?" And I go, "What type of music would you like?" And it's some Chopin or some Mozart or some Beethoven or something. So yeah, I did requests. And also I was very privileged growing up. My family loved to travel, and one of my father's greatest joys was to do cruises. And we'd be on cruise ships for anything from 2 weeks to 6 weeks at a time. And, of course, I had to practice because I had a Russian piano teacher who you must practice. So I would ask the cruise ship person in charge of events, whoever was purser, and say, can I use this piano to practice? And by the time they heard me, they go, oh, we're just going to slip you into the timesheet of,
For the entertainment?
Yes.
Wow.
So.
And how old were you at that time?
That was from 9 onwards.
So at that age, you're on a cruise ship and you were good enough, or must have been amazing to be able to entertain people on the cruise ship.
Yeah, so, scones and tea and, me playing the piano. And then later, travelling with my father.
And what did mum and dad do again? Sorry, I missed the...
So my father, his trade was a boiler attendant.
A what attendant?
Boiler.
Boiler attendant.
Yep, but when he came to Australia, he was a kitchen hand.
Right.
And, yeah, but, they were very good savers. And every opportunity it was, let's go somewhere. And because my father had worked on cargo ships and tanker ships like Texaco, it was in his blood. It's just something that, he just loved doing and
Loved travelling.
Travelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate enough to be involved in that, and we've gone everywhere. And
I reckon that's one of the best educations, to expose children to travel. I mean, you hear of people taking their kids out of school to go, for a 6-month travel and doing studies, correspondence by studies. And I think not everybody would agree with it, but I think that's great education for children too.
I think it's important for children to see more than their own age group, and to be able to speak about more than just what you learn at school.
Different cultures.
And see, that there's more to life than 4 walls.
And what about friends in school? Did you have many friends?
I had a couple, but not really. I think from primary, I have one that I still talk to. She lives in Switzerland. And that's about it. And in high school, in year 7, someone from the International Pen Friend Association came to my school and suggested that we all get pen friends. And I found myself having a pen friend from France. And by the time I was in year 11, I decided to go to France and see her and her family.
I remember you sharing the pen friend, but you explained to me about having friends in school, keeping them at an arm's length.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that.
I think, once again, stemming from just being isolated as a small child, and I guess not really having that understanding what a friendship was and how it operated, and not having any sort of common topics.
As in?
Well, I guess because I did travel quite extensively, I found that people, weren't. And children always have common things that they do, and I didn't have any common threads.
So you
with
mean
other children.
because your parents were traveling, taking you all on trips, and the other kids in the school were not traveling, or
they were meeting up to go, camping, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with camping or meeting and going to, the beach together.
Yeah.
But when you are different,
Yeah.
generally, and then you are going to Disneyland every year, or to Hawaii, or to America, or to Europe, or Asia, then there's just that disconnect. And rather than being labelled anything more than I already was labelled, I just didn't say anything, and just felt it was just easier to not mention those things because it was just so different.
If you mentioned you didn't feel like you wanted to kind of show off that you were traveling.
No, I guess I understood from a very early age it just wasn't something that, you know, you just told about. You know, you just sort of kept things to yourself.
So then when you're that whole pen friend, I remember having a pen friend as well, by the way. And that was the sweetest thing, just writing letters, and we would wait for their letters in the mail.
So much fun. And it took forever.
Yeah. But you kind of, as you said, the pen friend thing worked for you.
Absolutely.
So tell us about that. Tell us about your pen friend, the journey, and how how that progressed.
Well, I think having that distance...
Where was she from?
France.
Right.
It meant that there was time to develop an understanding of what a friendship is. And having those letters take so much time then gave me time to process, you know, what she'd said and then what I wanted to say in response. And then back then, you know, it was okay to sort of like put stickers and drawings and, you know, little, you know, I caught a bus and so, you know, would stick the ticket,
of it,
you know, in the letter. This is what a bus ticket in Australia looks like. And because there was none of that kind of association with Australia, you know, and everything was completely foreign to her, I was able to share those kind of things with her liberally, and I didn't feel like, you know, there was showing off of any kind. And you know, she in turn showed me, you know, her culture, her country, her doings, and so we found that, you know, we could communicate.
And what was her name?
Laurette. And I went in year 11 to stay with her and made friends with her sisters, her elder sister Patricia and her younger sister Celine, and then another sister Mylène and her parents Jacqueline and Jean-Claude. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so
how did you obviously saved up for this trip, or did
I worked 7 nights a week as a waitress in a Mexican restaurant very close to my home when I was in year 11, and decided I wanted to do that. And I think I was 17, and decided that's what I'm doing. And my father said, "Here's the American Express, see you later." And off I went.
I suppose you've had all that experience of traveling before, so he wasn't that concerned of sending you off at 17 to go to France by yourself kind of thing. He had the confidence in you.
They did. And I look back at that and sort of incredulous, but like you said, you know, I'd been traveling my whole life, and by the time I was 10, you know, I was arranging itineraries and booking tickets, you know, and, you know, had money strapped to my belly and going and paying for tickets.
Wow.
You know?
So you were the family travel organizer.
Yes.
I'd
I'd go to embassies and, you know, collate all this, you know, information and go, okay, this is what we're doing. Because back then there was no internets. And so I was like, we're doing this and this and this and this, and we're going here and here and here and here, and then we can catch this bus and this train and this.
That's amazing. So your dad, that's an education in itself.
It is.
Fabulous.
you know.
So, okay, coming back to France. So you worked 7 days, 7 nights, and you
7
saved
nights a
up
week.
money.
Yep.
And Dad gives you his American Express. Well, he's just giving you that's amazing. Trusted you with his American Express, and then you take off and you go off to France, and
Yep.
you're living with your pen friend's family.
Yes, in the northwest of France, there's this very small rural village called Valette, and it's about 30 minutes northwest of Nantes, which is a port. And they had chickens, and they had wine, and I learned how to cut the vines. The father taught me, you know, where to cut, and he'd go all along, and then I'd be like, which one was it? And then he'd have to come back and go and, you know, like explain to me which one it was, and then the chickens, and go and see them grow up and all of that. And then I went to the eldest sister's uni and spent a week with her, and then my pen friend, I went to her uni and spent a week with her, and then I spent a couple of weeks with the sister who was my age and the younger sister. And then I think the 3 eldest ones and I went to Paris and stayed at friends of the family. And
That's amazing. So you got to know the whole family, not
yes,
just Lorette.
yes.
And are you in touch with any of them?
So I'm actually, I don't write to Lorette anymore.
So she was the actual pen friend.
Yes. But since I have gone back to France, you know, on a couple of occasions, and I've stayed with Lorette, but I actually am in contact more with Celine, which is the sister who was my age.
Yeah.
And I do touch base with the elder sister, Patricia, and she lives in French Guiana, and she's a she's a preschool teacher, and she's also a writer.
That's amazing. And have they come out over here?
Celine has.
Okay.
Celine
This is
is
the older sister.
no, she's the one that's
Oh, the younger
the
one.
middle, the middle sister. So yes, and she's come to Australia, and you know, I've
So
taken
your
her.
pen friend gave you a lifelong friend.
Yes. So although I didn't remain writing to her, I remained writing to her sister.
And do you think, you know how you said your friends in school, you kept them at an arm's length kind of thing because of your past stuff? Is that different with Celine? Are you more like you share more deeply?
Absolutely. Even though we are from 2 different countries and brought up very differently, we've found that common ground and shared life experiences. And
And I think, like you said, the distance gave you that time
to
process and to become friends with her, but at your pace, at a slower pace than somebody being right in your face, close to you.
Now with social media, it's very different. You know, things are so instantaneous.
Correct.
And it just so happens that every time she writes, I wake up. And, you know, she could be walking and, you know, just sends me a picture and says, look at the ocean here, you know, where are you? What are you doing? I'm snoring.
That's so lovely. That really is a lovely story.
So it sort of changes the dynamic.
Yes.
But still it's amazing to share those moments with her. You know, it's like, this is my vista for today. You know, if she goes on holidays to Brittany, you know, if she's walking in the park, you know, it's just like, it's sweet. It changes that dynamic.
Yes.
You know, it's not, and doesn't take so long now to get a message.
Of course, we're very, very blessed to be in these times, I reckon. You know, I mean, my mum was ill for about last 7 years, and I could speak to her every single day like she was right in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, and tell her I loved her every single day, and she could see me. I could show her around my home. We're in a very blessed time, I think, in that respect. And then you got married at quite a young age, didn't you? Tell us about how was that? How was your marriage life?
I think because of my religious upbringing, I took things very literally. And because I was raised with the knowledge of the Bible, and was told certain things. I believed I must be a dutiful wife. So regardless of what was done or said, I turned the other cheek.
Right.
And I think naivety of youth has a lot to answer for.
You become wiser with age.
Yes. And my daughter. My daughter taught me a lot.
You mentioned that you'd stopped having anything to do with music after you got married. Are you willing to share a bit about that? Yeah.
Unfortunately, my ex-husband found great joy in dampening down anything that gave me joy. And my greatest joy was music.
Of course.
And anything that I played was criticized. Anything that I created was criticized. Anything and everything was criticized. It didn't matter if I was driving, cooking, making lunch, everything was a topic of contention. So I stopped.
You stopped playing.
Yes.
And you've been playing from the age of 4.
Yes.
And you've played in cruise ships, and you've taught music, and you've played in recitals and entertained people. And
it was just easier than having something poisoning you constantly.
What did your husband do? What was he?
He was a musician.
Right. Wow, that's very sad. So you lost touch with your
Yes.
passion and
Yes.
something that brought you so much joy
Yes.
because of the criticism and the
I just
being
didn't
told
have
that you
the strength or the knowledge or the words or the understanding on what to say or how to say it. It was definitely, manipulative control. There was abuse of every type.
goodness.
Nowadays, coercive control is illegal.
Well, there wasn't a name for it at that time.
No.
It was and coming from that background from a Catholic kind of background where till death do us part, and you just make your marriage work no matter what kind of thing.
No matter
you
what.
just take whatever it is, and you your marriage is is sanctum. Basically, you just push through.
Yes.
I can totally relate to that myself. What about your children? You had 2 children. Tell us a bit about that.
I was very young, very naive, and I wasn't ready, and I didn't understand. I loved them beyond, and I think they saved me.
How did they save you?
Well, I don't think that my marriage was true love. But loving them gave me the understanding of love. And my son was diagnosed with autism. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. And I then put all my learnings and musicality and love into homeschooling him. And my daughter just came along for the ride.
So you homeschooled both your children?
Well, I homeschooled him from the age of 3 to the age of 14. And for her, I did send her to school. She requested she wanted to go to school. But then I think it was in year 8 or year 9 that she requested that I homeschool her. So there was only 1 year that she was homeschooled. But I always, didn't matter where we went, and I always had work for them. Yeah. Even if she went to school, I still gave her schoolwork, homeschool work, because I found that it was to her advantage.
And did you teach them music, Julie?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So in that way you kind of got to reconnect.
I did. My daughter wasn't, she's creative in different ways. And she will tell stories of, you left me at the piano. And say that, I left her at the piano and I had one note and I didn't know what else to play.
Oh.
Because I had to be cooking and I had to, extend myself all over the place. And
so you kind of sounds like you poured all your energy.
I did.
Into your children to make up for the lack of energy that was given to you by your husband, I suppose. So you compensated by giving it out to your children. I think that's what women do as mothers. We often do that. And then you also said that you took your children traveling. You created a love of travel for them, like your father and mother did for you.
Yeah, I did. There's many occasions that we travelled. I think the most memorable would have been to Costa Rica and to Panama. We went for about 4 months, and we went and saw...
How old were they?
12 and 14.
Oh, nice.
So just before my son started going to school for the first time. Yes.
So just you went with just the children. Your husband didn't come?
No.
Okay. And he was okay with that?
Yes. And so I took them and we went and discovered indigenous tribes of Panama and went to islands and rode across, like caught these planes, like they look like mosquitoes, and they'd weigh you and your bags, and you sit there, you sit there, you sit there.
To balance the weight.
Balance the weight around the plane, and then land on a tarmac in the middle of the ocean, and then get into a canoe and go to the island, and then ask the island chief, could we stay on his island, and that kind of adventure and
real authentic kind of travel, getting them in touch with the locals and but even more, I mean, going out into meeting the indigenous people of the land.
Yes, so we've seen the Cunayala tribe, and they're from San Blas, and also the Embera, which we took hovercrafts to go and see. And it's funny, I think we went to the Embera first and we had ink tattoos. And then when the Cunayala saw the ink tattoos, oh, you've been to see the Embera. And, we bought their artisan work and learnt all the different plants that they use to dye reeds so that they can make plates, and they cut seeds into beautiful animals, and the women make molas, which is like an applique kind of tapestry looking thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
you've kind of passed on this love of travel and curiosity for other cultures to your children,
and which
is such a lovely gift to
give. They're both quite capable of just picking up and looking for something in the world.
Amazing.
So,
that's a great way to equip your children for life, even to be curious about other cultures.
It takes away that fear.
Yes.
And my daughter moved to Townsville on her own at 21.
Amazing.
and started her own business, went to uni, because she has travelled, because she has gone further than that nucleus of suburban home and school, and she understands that there are other things, and those fears, she's willing to step into that gap of faith.
Yeah, the unknown.
And go, I can do it. Because why? Because I jumped off a cliff into a river, roaring river, because I went 12 kilometres zip-lining through forests and jungles, and climbed up 150-metre trees, with no safety nets or OH&S.
Amazing.
Because I slept on a beach, with a poncho.
Beautiful. So coming back to yourself, when you said for many years you lost touch with music and your teaching, and you also wrote music, didn't you? You did you sing? Were you a singer?
Well, yes, I played music and I used to sing. Yeah.
So you were so passionate about it, and then for many years, right through your marriage, how many years were you married for?
25.
25 years. You didn't play piano?
Nothing.
Wow. And then after 25 years, your marriage broke down.
Yes.
Yes. And you are now, I want to hear that. That's the real exciting and the beautiful part of Julie, which I find resonates with myself as well, is the rebuilding, the getting curious about yourself, in retrospect what had happened, and now what are you doing, and how have you recreated yourself?
Well, it's very much trying to say to myself, who am I? If I'm not a daughter, if I'm not a wife, if I'm not a mother, who am I? What do I like? Not because I need to do something for someone. What do I actually like? Now, because I'm no longer that 19-year-old or the 24-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, there's been progression, a lot of water under the bridge. So who am I and what do I like? Well, there's a lot of things that I like, but then there's a lot of things that I'm not able to do. I had multiple head injuries in 2022, which left me unable to remember a lot of my musicality. I had to let go of scuba diving and sailing. And when I moved to Townsville, which was a year ago, roundabout now, I found Sailability Townsville.
So is this only in this last year that you've rediscovered yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. When did your marriage break down?
10 years ago. It has taken a while.
Because I suppose you were still with your children.
Yes.
Looking after your kids and stuff.
Yeah, and also attending to illness, chronic illness that was never addressed. I never had time to address. And finding out, I was born with this, I was born with that, and so many issues that I didn't have time, and although there were many occasions where my body would just crumble, I didn't know why. And the last 10 years has been trying to work out what is wrong, because there was never any interest or desire to find out, not by my ex-husband and certainly not by me, because I was too occupied looking after him and everyone else.
Julie came last.
Julie wasn't even thought of.
Yeah.
Wasn't even in the equation. So it's literally been the last 10 years of trying to work out, okay, why do I operate like this? What is wrong? What can I do?
Lots of self-reflection.
And
it takes time, doesn't it?
It does. These things take a lot of time, and it's taken 10 years. And it's only been this last year where I have been able to focus just on myself.
So how did you find out about Sailability?
So I moved up to Townsville. I took that big leap. I thought, well, my daughter's done it. I can do it too. And I saw a post on Facebook and I was like, I wonder what that would be like. But my daughter said, no sailing, Mama. I'm like, oh. Agua fiestas.
What does that mean?
It means party pooper. And I waited till she wasn't home. And I looked on Facebook and they said they were operating. I looked on Google and it said it wasn't operating, but I took a chance and I went. And no sooner had I arrived that I was asked participant or volunteer. And I was like, I don't know, participant, I guess, because I can't remember.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that I was sailing. I remember winning races and I don't remember. If it wasn't for a bottle in my cupboard, you know, first prize, it's just, you know, I've seen photos, but I really don't remember. But it's just that want, that desire to sort of be out on the ocean, in the ocean.
So your first time you went as a participant?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I jumped in, put a life jacket on me, got in and went in with a lovely chap and started talking, and I was just like, just feeling that breeze on my skin and listening to the water against the hull, and it's just something in me clicked.
Therapeutic.
It is always anything.
Isn't that funny? One ride in that sailboat and it's changed your life.
It has. And Sailability does that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only affected me, it's affected, you know, so many people and their stories, you know. Just amazing, you know, that it really means so much to so many people. And it's a beautiful organisation that is not only national, it's international.
Yes, I believe that.
And but it gives so much to so many people. It brings joy, it brings empowerment, freedom. You know, when you have physical limitations or psychosocial, it gives that freedom. It gives that strength and sense of community when sometimes you might have led like a cloistered life and sheltered yourself for a multitude of reasons. The community,
Good afternoon.
That's my iPhone saying it's 1:45. Good afternoon.
Good
That's
afternoon.
hilarious. Sorry for that interruption. I should have turned my watch off.
That's okay.
But coming back to Sailability, so and now you do their social media. How did that happen? From being a participant to being a volunteer.
So I went to the AGM.
Yeah. What made you do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just thought, why not?
I guess you were so moved by that one sail.
Everything here in Townsville is a new me.
New place.
New
Yeah.
place, trying different things. Because unless you try something new,
Yeah.
you know, you get a different result.
Yeah.
And I needed something new.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a rat up a drain pipe, stuck.
So you reached out for yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's a really good message, because often when we're in a down place, it's so easy to just curl up and go underneath the blanket.
Super easy.
And nobody knows that you're suffering or hurting.
No,
Only you do.
that's right.
And so it's it's your,
It's
from a place of
self-inflicted.
responsibility, it's time for us to just reach out, go out there and reach out and do something.
Yeah.
And that's what you did.
And so I went to that AGM and they were all discussing different things, and it's like I'm unable to do the physical things that everyone else does, but I'm able to do social media. And I have quite a like for it. I really enjoy doing it. Really enjoy putting together videos, and I found myself writing music.
Wow.
Because
So your creativity is coming back.
yes, it's very different. I'm not playing per
Yeah.
se, but I'm writing songs and using AI to come up with someone to sing them. And so that's shifted the creativity from me, myself, playing or singing to having AI doing the singing.
So you've really reinvented yourself, given your current health situation and challenges, and you can't, of course, play the piano and go sailing by yourself. But you're doing the similar kind of activities, but in a different way, and you're giving back, which is amazing.
Really important. That's a life lesson that has really resonated true. That strength comes from leaning into community and finding that courage and that connection. And that vulnerability isn't a weakness.
Absolutely.
It's the gateway to kindness and resilience.
Beautiful.
And bonding.
Like I'm can't help but go back to your childhood when you were alone in that convent, and you'd built this kind of, like you said, your friends were at an arm's length because you had become used to being by yourself, and now you've done full circle and you're going to community, and you're talking about vulnerability and the importance of leaning into community, which is the opposite of being alone. So that's just beautiful. And I was going to ask you what's been your greatest lesson, but I think you've kind of answered it. But tell us if there's anything different. What has been your greatest life lesson?
To not be scared. That even though life can throw some scary things at you, whether it be health or relationships or just life, it can be quite scary and daunting. And I think it's a human thing to run and hide. I don't think it's specifically a neurodivergent thing. I think it's quite anyone and everyone has their moments where they just shut those doors and just don't want to know. But I want, if one thing is to make that step, doesn't matter how small, dolly steps, to seeking that inner joy. What creates that spark? For me, it's sailing. For me, it's music. But to find that joy, whatever it is.
So you took the time out when your marriage broke down to ask yourself, if I'm not a mother, who am I? If I'm not a daughter, who am I? So you took that time out, like you got off the rat race kind of thing to be introspective and find out, what is Julie about? What is Julie like? And to get reconnected with yourself and what sparks joy for you, which in the end, that's why we're all here, to experience joy.
Yeah.
The gift of life.
That's it.
Before we end this podcast, Julie, I'd like to ask you, what has been your, to give our guests an experience of what it's been like for you to be on the podcast, a kind of maybe a testimonial or so that to share with our audience, because often I've asked people to be on the podcast and some of them are a little bit skeptical or not sure what's involved. And so if you want to just share your experience.
Well, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be vulnerable. I find that a lot of the times society says that it's not okay to be vulnerable and to not cry, to be strong, to be powerful. But it's okay to be, vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to, to not be sure. And it's definitely okay to verbalize one story. And I think that gives you strength to understand. And I think that's what this has given me, is the understanding of my own story and owning my own story, how I lived it. And good or bad, it's
Beautiful.
my story. I lived through it. I'm here. And I'm thriving and I'm happy. These are happy tears and it's okay to cry.
And you're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you
for being inspirational. I've taken your words and written songs and your actions and known that it's okay. Like you said, sometimes just a smile. And Townsville are really good at that, saying good morning and smiling. And that, just small actions can mean a lot to someone. And that anyone and everyone can do it.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
My pleasure, and it's been an absolute delight to get to know you, Julie. Thank you so much for your generosity of your time and your courage to be vulnerable. And I'm sure our guests will have learned a lot from just listening to your episode. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.